Good morning, children. Now, let's move on to the third part of the world in a wall. Here, we will be doing some activities based on grammar as well as a comprehension passage. Now, children, I think you remember what this story was about. I think you remember, or shall I refresh your memory? Okay, children. Now, here, The World in a Wall is a story of a boy named Gary who had the habit of, bringing animals inside the house, and he had a miniature zoo. So he loved animals, and he used to collect animals and keep it at home. Now, one day, he brought a scorpion into his house. He placed it in a matchbox and kept it on a dining table. And of course, while having his food, he completely forgot about it. Now, his brother Larry, you know, uh, didn't know what it was inside the matchbox, and he opened it. The scorpion, of course, which was hidden, which was placed inside the matchbox, quickly rushed out, and its baby spread all around the dining table. There was complete chaos and pandemonium inside the house, with everyone screeching and running around. All the while, the author was sitting and watching the complete disorder and chaos inside the house. Of course, towards the end, peace prevailed, with the author taking the scorpion and placing it back on the wall. So, that is the story for you. I think you now remember what the story is. So, let us get back to some activity here in this lesson. Now here we have various, questions based on agreement of the subject with the verb. What is this agreement of the subject with the verb? Now, in this, we find the verb agrees with the subject both in person and number. For example, if the subject is singular, it requires a singular verb. For example, Gautam is walking. Okay? Now, at the same time, if your subject is plural, it requires a plural verb. Like Gautam and Gauri are walking. I think you understand now what the agreement of the subject with the verb is. Let's get back to some sentences over here. Now fill in the blanks with the correct form of the verbs given in the brackets. First one is, neither the cat nor the mouse dash apples. The verb in the bracket is to eat. Now neither the cat nor the mouse. Here you'll have to pick out the correct form or the verb. You'll have to fill in the blank here. To eat. So the answer is eats. Neither the cat nor the mouse eats apples. The second one, either Garfield or his friend dash dinner every evening. To cook. The verb is to cook. So your answer is yes, either Garfield or his friend cooks dinner every evening. I think children, now you understand how the subject and the verb agree here. The next one is use appropriate auxiliary verbs to complete these sentences. Make sure that the verb agrees with the subject. Here again, we have to use appropriate auxiliary verbs. I think children, you know what auxiliary verbs are. They're helping verbs like is, was, are, were, was, then shall, should, etc. So here you are going to use appropriate auxiliary verbs to complete the following sentences. And of course, you'll have to make sure that the verb agrees with the subject. Now, every parent and guardian dash asked to come to the PTA meeting. Now, every parent and guardian. Okay, so here, look at the tense. It is past tense asked, it is past tense. At the same time, you'll have the subject has to agree with the verb. So, we have was. Every parent and guardian was asked to come to the PTA meeting. The second one, the selection committee dash divided in their opinion. Again, the selection committee, singular, the subject is singular. Now, and look at the tense in the sentence here, divided, so it is a past tense. So, your answer is was. The selection committee was divided in their opinion. The third one, rupee 50 dash too much for a plate of rice. Okay, so your answer is rupee 50 is too much for a plate of rice. Fourth one, there dash two possible answers to this question. There you've got two possible, okay, answers. So here we have plural form here. So you are adding are. There are two possible answers to this question. Come to C part. Here, complete the paragraph using the correct tense forms or the verbs given in the brackets. So, in the brackets, some verbs are given. You're going to fill in the blank using the correct tense form or the verbs given in the brackets. Now, let us start now. One day I was dash, the word given in bracket is play, all by myself in the garden outside when I dash, the word is here, some sound in the bushes. Now, one day I was play, the word is play, so the correct form of the verb here is I was playing. All by myself in the garden outside when I, the verb is here. So when you have heard is the right answer. I heard some sound in the bushes. At first, I did not pay any attention, but the sound dash. In bracket, you have the word persist. Okay, so your answer is persisted. At first, I did not pay any attention, but the sound persisted. I dash. The word here again, stop, my play, and dash, walk cautiously towards the bushes. So I stopped my play and walked cautiously towards the bushes. Now, let's come over to comprehension passage. Now here, I've given a passage. We are going to read it and then answer the questions which follow this passage. Let's come to the passage. However, I placed the matchbox carefully on the mantelpiece in the drawing room so that the scorpions should get plenty of air, and made my way to the dining room and joined the family for the meal. Dawdling over my foot feeding Roger surreptitiously under the table and listening to the family arguing, I completely forgot about my exciting new captures. At last, Larry, having finished, picked up the matchbox he had brought. Oblivious of my impending doom, I watched him interestedly as, still talking glibly, he opened the matchbox. So, children, that was a passage for you. Let's go over to the questions. Now, I think you remember the passage? Let's go over to the question. Where did the writer place the matchbox? Now, come back to the question, your passage here. Where did the writer place the matchbox? Here you have it on the first line. Look at the first line. I placed the matchbox carefully on the mantelpiece in the drawing room. So that's your answer. Now your answer is the writer placed the matchbox on the mantelpiece in the drawing room. Got the answer, children? Now, let's go to the second question. Why did the writer keep the matchbox on the mantelpiece? Now, look at this line here. So that the scorpions should get plenty of air. So, what is the answer? Why did he keep the scorpions on the mantelpiece? Look at the answer. Why did the writer keep the matchbox on the mantelpiece? Your answer, the writer kept this matchbox on the mantelpiece so that the scorpions could get plenty of air. Third one, who opened the matchbox? Look at this line here. I think you can find the answer. At last, Larry, having finished, picked up the matchbox he had brought. Oblivious of all my impending doom, I watched him interestedly. Still talking glibly, he opened the matchbox. So I think you understood where the answer is. Where's the answer? He opened the matchbox. So who is that he? This is Larry. So, come to the third question. Who opened the matchbox? Larry opened the matchbox. Fourth one. Who was feeding Roger? Now, come to the passage here. Look at this. Dawdling over my food, feeding Roger surreptitiously under the table. So, who was that? And listening to the family arguing, I completely forgot about my exciting new captures. Who's that I here? I is the author. Okay, so who's the author here? The author is Gerald Durrell. So who was feeding Roger? The author, Gerald Durrell, was feeding Roger. Now, the fifth one, write one word from the passage which is the synonym of. Now, what is the meaning of synonym? Synonym is, you will have to find out. I've given the word here. You have to find out the synonym of this word in the passage. So, the word here is more. So, synonym of more from the passage is plenty. Second one, approaching. Approaching from the passage is, we have impending. Sixth question, he opened the matchbox. Change the voice. I think children by now, you know how to change the voice. Okay, he opened the matchbox. Your answer, the matchbox was opened by him. Right, children? I think you have understood this part of the lesson now. There is an assignment which you are expected to answer. Thank you, children.